Welcome to Keep Playing, the podcast where we challenge you to stop playing for someone else's team and start building your own. We're here to bridge the gap between sports and business so you can lead, grow, and win. Game on. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Sonny Burt and Lance Johnson back at you, back with you here at Keep Playing, and we are jam-packed today. Yes, sir. Lance, what do we got going on today? What do you think? Today's going to be a big day. We got resiliency and overcoming things in sports. But I just wanted to take a little bit of time. We got some jerseys hanging in the back behind us today. Huge sports fans. I got my Penguins jersey on. Mm-hmm. You're from Chicago. Let's hear about these Chicago sports teams. Okay. But you got an OKC jersey behind you. So we got some explaining to do. Yeah. Let these people know. Yeah. What is going on in the world of Lance Johnson sports fandom?
It's Come on. It's crazy. I grew up in Chicago, was born and raised in Chicago. Also spent a lot of my life in Los Angeles. So I got everything Los Angeles, everything Chicago. But you see OKC in the back. I was a big fan of Russell Westbrook when he was playing for UCLA, when Kevin Love was playing there and Collison and all those guys. And that's that L.A. connection. So I was following him then. I believe Derrick Rose was playing for Memphis at the time. And I used to argue a lot of times with my boys back home in Chicago about the fact that I'm watching this boy here on the West Coast because I moved to Arizona, and this boy Russell Westbrook is dynamic. And sure enough, Russell Westbrook went on. He got a Hall of Fame career. So that's the reason why you see the OKC back there. And my wife is from Oklahoma. So, and my family, my in-laws, they all love Oklahoma. So I'm a Oklahoma Thunder fan regardless because of Russell's background and because of my family.
All right. So hold on. It's not just because they won an NBA championship not so long ago.
No.
Okay.
If you remember, and you do remember, and your wife remember me talking all about Russell back in the day, and I left Oklahoma alone when Russell got traded. But my team is the Lakers, the Clippers, the Raiders. When the Raiders used to play in Los Angeles, everybody know I bleed blue. I'm a Dodger fan. I don't care who's on that team, who's owning the team. I'm a Dodger fan. I'm a USC fan. I love everything about USC. I like UCLA too, but USC is my team. Bulls, Bears, Cubs. And the Blackhawks. That's where it is.
What about the White Sox?
No, never out of my mouth. You'll never hear me talk about the White Sox or the Los Angeles Angels. Those two teams, you would never see me root for them. The Clippers used to be on that list a long time ago, but once they got Steve Ballmer as their owner, I knew the direction of where the team was going to go. So I like what he's doing. It's a shame he hasn't won anything because he's a good owner. But his leadership style, which is something that we're going to talk about today, and his way of fighting, bouncing back, and becoming the owner that he is something that I strive to kind of be. Steve Ballmer's ahead of the game, and I think he's an excellent CEO. So that's my fandom is like every sport. If somebody had a bubble blowing team in Los Angeles, I probably would be liking that as well. But everything Los Angeles, everything Chicago, those are my teams.
So we're kind of on the opposite ends of the spectrum because I'm back east, right? Okay. We're sitting here in Arizona today, yeah. But my roots are in Pittsburgh. Okay. And so I got my Penguins jersey on. I got me a Steelers jersey behind me, right. And then there's the Pirates. Yeah. Well, they're the Pirates. Yeah,
Clutch. I love Clutch.
They got him back not too long ago. Yeah. He's kind of the pride of Pittsburgh right now.
Skeens.
But yeah, there's my boy Paul Skeens. That's my boy. Yep. Just dominating really on a team that struggles to win. And I think he's got a chance for the Cy Young this year. Yeah. With a losing record. Yeah. I don't know the stats on that, but I'd venture to say that not a whole lot of Cy Young Award winners won with a losing record.
Right.
But just amazing, But you go back to the glory days of Pittsburgh. When I lived back there in the early 90s, and sorry, Braves fans, not a big fan of the Braves, used to kick our butts all the time in the NLCS. Yeah. Back when Barry Bonds was on the team and Bob Booney and all those players. So I go back to the Pirates there, and then obviously the Steelers in their run in the 70s. And the Penguins, I saw Mario Lemieux and Yager and that team play and win a couple of cups. And then, Sid came along, got him 3 cups now. So living in Arizona, I try and cheer for the local team, but it's just the fandom really gets the best of you, and you go with where your roots are at. So let's go Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
We get to go back and visit every once in a while. All my family's still there, so it's a good time.
It's funny that you mentioned Pittsburgh and how we connected, because when I was a kid growing up watching the Cubs back in the 80s, my favorite catcher was Tony Pena, and he was for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I loved his style. He always sat with his one leg out. So when I played Little League, I was hoping to be like Tony Pena, and he was like the dude that I was, I used to follow a lot. And, of course, I was a little kid and everything else happened. And, like you said, the Atlanta team, when they had Greg Maddux and all those guys who used to
the dominant pitching staff. I mean, that's one of the best pitching staffs.
Smoltz, all those
crazy.
guys.
Glavine,
all those
Steve
guys.
Avery. It was just amazing teams they had. But and then come to, lo and behold, Sid Bream scores that winning run. Previous Pirate.
Right.
Couldn't run, but he scores a winning run.
Right.
So, heartbreak for Pirates fans, and it's been heartbreak for Pirates fans a long time. But, when you bleed black and gold,
right,
and your entire city is black and gold,
right.
you just don't never give up. Yeah. And I think that kind of leads us right into resilience today. Being resilient as a fan is absolutely one of the toughest things to do, because there's times that I don't want to be a Penguins fan. This year was a rough season for the Penguins. The core people are getting older. They're becoming less resilient because they're just aging, and new blood's coming into the league. But they still just keep bringing it every single time. And they're just resilient in what they do. And as fans, we're resilient. We stick with our team, and we stick with who we truly believe in. And at the end of the day, we love, right? We love to cheer for our teams. We love to back our teams. And so resilience in business and sports and life is just such a key attribute and a key to what you can really do in life. And so we're going to spend most of this episode, well, let me rephrase that, because we just spent some time talking about some of our fandom and fun things that we enjoy. But we're going to talk about resilience and what it truly takes, in sports. We'll cover some people that have really been resilient through their careers, and even beyond their careers. We're just having a little conversation before we went live, but let's just dive into it and let's just talk about just what's somebody that comes to mind when you just think about resilience, and maybe as an individual. Let's start there. As an individual that was just knocked down, maybe got injured, maybe got older later in his career, and just every single year, every single day, every single play just seemed to show up. And he just never gave up because of his resilience.
Well, before we go into that resilience, first of all, I think that you are super resilient. And if anybody has not got that book, Strength, with Sonny Burt, make sure you get this book about strength. It's going to talk all about resiliency and everything that you've been through and what you fought in order to get you to right here. So that's a great book, and I just want to make sure that the audience go out and go get that top bestseller book that's out right now. And now me being a Christian, my number one person is Jesus, as far as dealing with resilience and resiliencies and still winning the ultimate championship.
Well, the bar there is pretty high.
That's a pretty high bar, right? That's the ultimate bar. But when we bring it down to earth level, I always tell people, my mother taught me, always talked to me about Jesus and Michael Jordan, because that was the way she was able to, keep me motivated, because she knew I was a huge Michael Jordan fan. And the reason why I was a Michael Jordan fan is because it goes back to the story of him being cut in high school on the varsity team. It goes back to him, fighting to get Dean Smith to make sure that he trusted him enough to take the last shot to beat Georgetown. I believe that was back in 1982 or 83. It was one of those years. And then when he got to the Bulls was a losing franchise. It was a franchise full of nothing but, I hate to say it, druggies and just bottom feeders. They was terrible. You had a few players on there that was household names like what's the guy's name? Quentin Daly, Reggie Theus, Artis Gilmore. But this is when Mike just got there. And Mike had to fight through the culture of losing and fight through ownership that was used to losing and was comfortable with losing, and he had to impose his will on the team to make them realize, hey, I'm not just this average player coming in here. I'm a championship player. That's my pedigree. I'm a champion. And the definition of resilience is being able to bounce back. So going into his second season, Michael Jordan suffered a season-ending injury. He broke his ankle. And his trainer, Tim Grover, I think I talked about this in the first episode, instead of teaching him to how to jump again and run again and be fast, he taught him, first of all, mindset, and second of all, how to handle a fall. That way you can prevent injury. Michael really didn't have any more injuries in his career after that one particular injury his second year. And he fought his way all the way to the top of the mountaintop when he had to go through people the likes of Isaiah Thomas, a Magic Johnson, a Larry Bird, those guys who was dominating the league for a long time just to become the face of the league, and even having the old goats tell everybody, this is the chosen one. This is the one. He has everything, not only the athleticism, not only the heart, but he has the mindset. His IQ is off the chain. He can do everything, and you can't keep him down. If Michael tells you, he guarantees you a win, he has said in the press conference, you best believe the next game he's gonna win. Whatever Michael said, he delivered on. And I've kind of patterned my life trying to emulate a lot of things like Michael, where it's not just basketball, I relay it in sports. I'm not trying to be the greatest of all time. I'm just trying to be great at the moment of whatever it is I'm doing. And if I fail, I find a way to come back. Sometimes I gotta walk into situations blind, not knowing what the outcome is going to be, but because I know that I am resilient, even if that outcome doesn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen, I know that I can bounce back from that and come back, and then I'm going to try it again and again and again and again. I'm going to take 99 shots, and on that 100th shot, hopefully it goes in. I'm going to tell you I'm the hottest guy on the planet after I hit that one shot. So
all it takes is one, though, sometimes.
That's resilient.
And that's what it takes is just that one shot.
Yep.
That one contract, that one employee, that one thing.
Yep.
But if you're not resilient, you never get to that point to have that turning point.
Yep.
And I just got to let everybody know that we really come in here and we're just garage talking. And I didn't set Lance up to talk about Michael Jordan, but I love talking about Michael Jordan just because great basketball player, arguably the GOAT. The GOAT. What about his after basketball career? Let's talk. I mean, he owns a NASCAR team.
Yep.
He owns an NBA team.
Yep. Motorcycle team.
The amount of businesses that Michael Jordan's gotten into after his playing career, and I'd venture to even guess he's probably making more now than he was playing basketball.
He's a billionaire.
He's got all of these processes, all these systems, everything in place to manage all these big corporations, and he's resilient. He's got strong leadership skills. He's disciplined. Everything that we really truly believe in here at Keep Playing. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's just the GOAT. Yep. Let's just call him the GOAT of it all, right? But I find it even more interesting now, reading and listening about Michael Jordan in his post-basketball career and the things that he does. Obviously from a business standpoint, but things he does in the community and everything else that he does. That's how I sometimes look at a man or a woman and really define who they are.
Right.
Is what they're doing after something.
Right.
All the headlines were on Michael Jordan playing basketball, as rightfully they should be. Mm-hmm. I loved watching him growing up. I was never a huge Bulls fan. Being from Pittsburgh, we didn't have basketball, so we didn't really have a team to watch. Right. And so what better team to watch than the Bulls because they had Michael Jordan, exactly. Right? And Michael Jordan sold tickets. Michael Jordan sold shoes. Michael Jordan sold merchant. Just every night, you knew Michael Jordan was going to bring it. One thing that just jumps in my mind about Michael Jordan is that the playoff game he was really sick.
Yeah, the flu game.
And he could have sat on the bench. He could have stayed in the locker room. He could have been in the hospital, but because of his resilience and just sheer determination, there was no way he was sitting out that game. There was no way. And that's the same kind of with me and my work and my job. I might not feel good. I might be tired. I might not want to go, but I go.
Exactly. Because
I love what I do. I love getting up. I love serving my clients. I love serving the community. I love being in the community. Mm-hmm. And that's what drives me. Mm-hmm. And that drive to be great. That's obviously what we should all strive for, is to be great.
Exactly.
So it's amazing when we talk about that, and injuries in sports happen all the time. And here's one that hits home for me right now. Is a couple years ago, Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles.
Achilles first play of the game.
2-3 play, whatever, into the game. And now as a Pittsburgh fan, he's coming to Pittsburgh, right? And so you talk about resilience. He's 40 years old now, and maybe 38 at the time. That torn Achilles is going to take people down.
Yeah. Yeah, modern medicine, though, is to the point where if you go down and you got the right mindset, you can come back. And you look at what happened in the NBA right now. You got all the players that go down when Achilles tear. But, again, modern medicine has got us to the point now where the things that used to take us out, we can, if with the right training, the proper rehabilitation, we can get back on our feet. You just got to first have a vision of seeing yourself back on your feet. And that's what a lot of people don't have. They fall down and they don't see themselves getting back up. And resiliency is just the ability to bounce back. You like a basketball. The harder you push me down, the faster I'm gonna pop back up. And for me to get to right here, you don't see it below me, but I got God in my life making all things possible. But below me is all the trials and tribulations I've been through in order for me to be able to be structurally sound and sustainable right now, because I know what I've been through. So I know what not to do, and I know where I don't want to be. So I know how to keep fighting. That's that motivation when you're saying, I don't feel like getting up, going to work, and then maybe I don't feel like dropping off these clothes or going all the way out to Buckeye to go get a bag of lunch. But that's healthy for for your business, and that's going to just provide you with newer clients, and you never know if that client's gonna get you another client, and all because of the fact that you decided to get up and push past how you actually feel. So I love it. I think if you look at Michael Jordan, the reason why he was so popular and such an iconic figure, and the same with Shohei right now, is because the way that they bridge their awesome, extraordinary talent with the way they can pitch for these companies. And that's all it is. The businesses that they're involved with make them seem bigger than life. And then when they go out there and play, you can see all the Be Like Mike Gatorade, and you can see the Shohei New Balance commercial. You can see all these different things, and it makes you like, well, if I got a pair of New Balance, can I hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases? If I got some Air Jordans, can I jump and be like Mike? So they're the perfect definition of what we do here and Keep Playing. It's business and how sports translates into business, and business translates into sports.
Well, let's talk about the F word.
Okay.
And the F word today is failure.
Got it.
Because it's typically a failure that builds your resiliency, right? It's that ability to bounce back from something. That's typically a failure, whether it's a lost sales opportunity, a big rejection. You go in and you put out a big contract, it's rejected, right? You miss the game-winning shot, you miss the game-winning pass. It typically is a failure that people look at, and then they judge the person based on how well do they bounce back, right? And so whether you're in sports or whether you're in business, let's just focus on that business side of things right now, because I think there's so many people out there listening right now that are like, oh, I just can't do that, or I already tried that, it didn't work. Well, did you try it again?
Right.
Again, back to you take 99 shots, maybe the 100th one goes in. Maybe it's the 1,000th one that goes in, right?
Exactly.
And so you got to really understand that failure just needs to be reframed and brought into the picture as feedback.
Yep.
And so when you look at failure, it's just literally something that's giving you feedback of life.
Yep.
Right? Hey, will you buy a bag of laundry? No. Okay, well, I should probably change my sales pitch. Right? It's very, very simplistic answer, right? Because at the end of the day, what you want to present to people is something that solves their problem. And so you just keep working on that and working on that and working on that, and you're going to fail hundreds and hundreds of times. Exactly. With a few wins here and there. And then when you get those wins, you're like, okay, that works. Let's tweak that, right? And you're just always grinding and trying to figure out what's the best.
Right.
And I hear people strive for perfection. Well, I'm just going to tell you, Lance, I don't think there's such thing as perfection.
No, it's not.
But there's such thing as excellence.
Yeah.
And if you're striving for excellence, you can't fail. You can learn along the way, but you're not going to fail. And it's just that resiliency to keep going and keep going and keep going. And when it gets harder, keep going.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to me, whether you're an athlete or whether you're a business owner or a business entrepreneur, whatever that might be, resiliency is the one key aspect of it that you're going to have to get better at.
Right.
You're never going to be perfect at it, because there's times I get knocked down and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to crawl under a rock and just wish the day never happened. And there's many times I've done that. And I've really changed my mindset to just say, okay, well, I learned this today, and tomorrow I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to do this way, and I'm going to do it this way. And I'm going to fall down here at this point, but I'm going to find that little crack. I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to keep going. And that resiliency, it's tough.
With me, my father had 5 hip surgeries. My father had a hip hike for a long time, up until I was about 11 or 12 years old. I didn't realize he was handicapped. He had a bad hip. And I thought it was like a cool pimp walk. It was like something that he was doing, walking. And it took the basketball coach in California, when he seen me walking, trying to emulate my father, and I was seeing the way Michael Jordan and some of the other basketball players were walking. I always thought that knock-knee, pigeon-toe walk was the way of trying to, like, your rite of passage to being a basketball player. Not knowing it, it just made you look like you was dysfunctional. And the reason why I bring up my father in that hip hike is because my father worked 2 jobs. He may have got like 6 to 8 hours sleep between those jobs: Park District, Chicago Park District, and the post office. My father didn't miss work. I never had to go to his house or go downstairs and see him, or see him in his room just sitting there, decided to take a PTO day. He didn't do that. He went to work. Now, he had fun when he was at work. He might have drank a little bit while he was on the job and had fun, but he went to work. And that resiliency was built up in me to see a person not make excuses on why they can't do. He had every excuse in the world. He was arthritic, had all types of pain, gout all over the body, but he worked up until he retired. So with that being said, a lot of people want to know, how do I start my own business? How do I find my passion? Well, you got to be able to go to the job and do the things that you're doing now and master that and be great at there, no matter what you're facing. And then once you learn to master that, that's going to lead you to the point, and you're going to have the discipline enough to be able to have your own business. Because if you won't miss a day for somebody that you don't really care to work for, then you're not going to miss a day for something that you really love to do. And I happen to love what I do right now, so it's easy for me to get up every morning and constantly be motivated in what I do right now.
Yeah, and I love that segue into, if you do what you love, there's no such thing as the word work.
Exactly.
Job. It's just a passion at that point. And that passion is going to drive you.
Yep.
And whether you get knocked down or thrown down, because there's going to be people that are not nice to you.
Right.
And they're going to want to kick you.
Yep.
And they're going to want to beat you down. Your competitors, if you're on the sports field and you're playing football or basketball, whatever sport you're playing, you line up against each other. You don't like each other for that amount of sports, but after 99% of the time, they're shaking hands, hugging, saying hi, praying at the center field, or they're coming together. But for that certain amount of time, they want to whoop each other.
Yeah.
And they want to whoop each other real good. And it's really the way the business world is.
It is.
And I've really come to collaborate over compete.
Right.
And that's the beautiful thing about the business world is you get yourself in a room full of like-minded people, like our marketing group.
Right.
Like, it's just energizing. Every Tuesday morning, we sit there, we leave energized, and it's one of my better days of the week because of that. So resiliency is absolutely golden. It's a ticket to success, and just getting up every day knowing that even though you were knocked down the day before, you still have the ability to wake up today, clean slate, and really find your success. So as we kind of wrap up on resiliency here, we like to give people a takeaway.
Okay.
Right? And I'll give you my takeaway today. If you got long-term goals, set shorter interim goals.
Exactly.
So that, if you got a 5-year goal, figure out what it's going to take to get to those 5 years, and have measurable, successful tracks, and know that in between each of those goals, there's going to be setbacks, there's going to be failures, and you're going to have to display resiliency. And maybe it's a month long, right? Start small and you build up.
Right.
But being able to really determine short-term wins and celebrate them.
Yeah.
Celebrate your short-term wins, because I tell you what, I guarantee you battled to get that win. So frickin' celebrate.
Yeah.
Have a good time with it. So go out there, build your goals, make sure you have short-term win intervals, and celebrate those.
And don't worry about who doesn't celebrate with you. I think that's the biggest mistake for a lot of people. When they do something big, they're looking for a pat on the back. They're looking for somebody to acknowledge or validate them for what they do. And I'm a victim of that. And once I got to the point where I didn't care who worried about what I'm doing, I didn't care about the status I was as far as in my family, or the status I was as far as the other trainers I'm around. I just was me, doing what I do, carving out my niche. The stuff I do, I train when nobody's looking. I study when nobody's looking. I pat myself on the back when nobody's looking. And if you just keep doing that, you can keep going. But as long as you're looking for people to validate you and say, hey, that a boy, you're going to be waiting forever. And people know that you're waiting on that. And sometimes they hold back on purpose. So like you said, I love when you said not competition, but collaboration. Try to figure out the problem. Try to figure out a way to collaborate with somebody, and then come up with the solution. And then you're going to have another problem. Be ready to collaborate with somebody else to resolve that problem.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, our harshest critic is looking us square in the mirror
all the time. It's ourselves.
And once you like you just said, once you can pat yourself on the back and realize that you're going in the right direction, is the day that you're going to be able to find that success. And you're going to find that one little piece of success, and the next one's going to be right behind it, and right behind it, and right behind it. You just got to keep getting up and getting after it.
Exactly.
So, love resilience. We're going to wrap this one up here.
Sure.
It's been an amazing time. Look forward to seeing you guys again, and we'll be back here shortly.
Yes, sir. Keep playing.
Thanks for tuning in to Keep Playing with Sonny Burt and Lance Johnson, the show where athletes turn sports into business success. If today's episode hit a home run, be sure to follow, rate, and review the show. Share it with a teammate and tag us on socials to keep the conversation going. And remember, the season might end, but the game never does.
Keep showing up, keep growing, and most of all, keep playing.